Hello everyone and welcome back to another weekly card highlight video. I am Nick the Greek Geek and I am here with my good friend GC James. How are you doing today, GC?
I am fantastic, Nick, and excited about this Furnace Wolf card in Marvel Snap. Been doing really great, and I always love anytime we get an animal-based card in the Snap.
Agreed. It's fun to have it. And did you know the lore behind this one? Because I was a little bit dumb until I actually looked it up and then I remembered where we know her from.
I believe it's Hella's puppy, isn't it?
That's right. Hella's massive ass puppy. I was trying to find good images, and sure enough, Hella's puppy is here. Before we get into that, GC, can you tell everybody where they can find you?
You most likely find me over on Twitch. I'll either be playing Marvel Snap, Mario, or anything in between. Love to check you out there in TV land. Find me over on find me over on Twitch.
Perfect. And his handle is exactly what it shows down below. And for me, it's Nick the Greek Geek everywhere. Find me over on Twitch. Find my podcast, Two Dudes Snapping, on the Snap Decisions YouTube channel. And let's get into Fenris Wolf, whose text says activate, another activate card. Resurrect your opponent's highest power discarded or destroyed cards on your side of this location. When we did our PwrOn videos for the best card of the month, I was like, this hands down. I think in my brain, I wasn't thinking, oh, right, it's an activate card. So it's not like you could play this in Shang-Chi on the last turn. Had that been the case, maybe a bit too overpowered. She's not as strong as I thought she was going to be. I haven't seen anyone have a situation to where they've shanged Infinite and brought it back with Fenris, but there have been some very cool plays that I think justify her value. I don't know if it's worth spending the tokens on because it's technically a tech card that could bring you back something like a swarm, which is not ideal. GC, have you gotten the card?
I did pick her up. She looked fun. I just said heck with it. I had a couple of keys. I lucked out. I got that mystery slot first, and it was not a dupe. It was a card I didn't own. So amazing to not be collection complete and actually have a chance to get a card I didn't own. And then got the wolf over on the second try. I think there are going to be some really fun kind of combo-y type decks. I do like the fact that she's activate, because even though you can't do that Shang-Chi wolf last turn, I think that gives it a little bit of fairness to it, because your opponent knows. Right, your opponent knows that that card can resurrect either something you've discarded or destroyed, and I love that flexibility where we can kind of find a place, maybe with Black Bolt Stature or even Moon Knight, the cards that I feel get underplayed in Snap, and this kind of gives those guys a little bit more juice to them.
Yeah, the biggest success that I've found is with stuff either like Moon Knight or Gambit. I had one situation where Gambit, 2 games in a row, killed my Luke Cage. In one of them, the reason they won is because they had Fenris. They activated it, and out of all of the cards on my board, it hit Luke Cage, and of course, it brought it back for them, and I lost the game. It was one of those beautiful last turn swings, and that's some of the coolest stuff that she is able to do, which we will see in the gameplay video. What I want to do now is bring up her tier stats. Right now, Untapped has her as a C tier with a 0.37 cubes, very reasonable, a 55% win rate, very reasonable, as well as a 7.4% popularity, which surprisingly is lower. I expected this was going to be one of the biggest cards this month, but I think Frigga still had the highest numbers. I'm interested in looking back after this is all done and seeing who had the highest popularity based on their starting amount. One of the other things that I wanted to discuss were the spotlights as well, because if you look at the tier list based on Untapped for the spotlights, it's not great. You've got C and D tier list cards. And I remember when Annihilus was a humongous part of the meta, same with Werewolf by Night. And they have just fallen out of favor with a million other options now. And it's rough because Annihilus was a powerful deck. And then they changed a few things and it wasn't anymore. So do you have Annihilus and Werewolf?
I do have both of those cards. That was back when I was chasing that collection complete. Carrot on the stick there. All right, Werewolf, I feel like, is best in bounce decks, and the problem is that there's so much better stuff for bounce now. Absolutely too many much better things. Next chance is like maybe a Thanos deck with all the stones and stuff, right? But there's other cards that put bigger stats on the board for those decks than
Agreed.
Werewolf does. Annihilus, like you said, it's an entire archetype. And what we see with the junk over and over and over again is that junk gets nerfed down because it's not fun to play against junk. All I want to do is play my cards, and in junk, you fill up all my spaces, and then I don't get to play my cards, which is the only thing I want to do in this game.
Yep.
So I don't see Annihilus coming back anytime soon. Yeah, overall, probably a skip if you don't have some extra keys laying around. Some powerhouses coming up in the future, but as always, it's about what sparks joy for you. If chasing the top S tier cards is what sparks joy, this is not your cash. Funny shenanigans with either clog or some enemy discard. If you really like stature type decks, maybe this is joyful enough for you.
Yeah, and I think Gore coming out next week is going to bring an interesting, I need to stop saying interesting. I think Gore is going to bring some changes to how those on reveal cards work, because he is a card that asks you to play as many on reveal cards as possible in hopes that your opponent does the same, because he gains power based on that. So, you know, in a bounce meta, in something like with Werewolf by Night, there is potential that you might be able to get it to work, but in any of the bounce decks that I've seen, Werewolf by Night is the card that is the worst in them. The decks get is significantly better when he's gone. Toxin is a much better card to suit in there now. And it's, I think Fenris will have her time. I don't think it's now, but I also think she is a fun card to play. I think she can have some really cool swings, and if you end up getting her accidentally, there are decks out there, and I will list them at the end and put up a list of the top 5 decks right down below. But I think what we should do, GC, if you're up for it, let's get into some gameplay.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see some of those PwrOn member clips of them trying out the card. See Fenris Wolf in action. Yeah, she's a fun card. Like you said, she's got the swing potential. She's got a surprise element potential. I mean, not huge surprise, but like it is that swing potential of like, I can hit you with that Shang-Chi, or I can hit you with that Black Bolt, with that Gambit, with that Moon Knight. And I like that. It's a fun card. I think over time, activate cards will get better as well. We don't have a lot of activate synergies. There's no Wong for activate. There's like one repeat and active. I don't even think we have a repeat and activate at all, right? So as cards come out that kind of bolster that keyword up more and more, that might be what the Wolf's waiting on.
I agree. Now let's start with Lufku and take a look at his first clip. This one, it's fun Sage play, a card that you never expected to be that high powered, but oh my lord, is it ever.
Yeah, Sage can definitely put some power out there.
Yep. So this is a nice Shang-Chi, and there goes Fenris stealing a massive Human Torch, and Luke Cage, just to throw a little bit of insult to injury, with Miss Marvel.
Yeah, that Luke Cage, giving the Miss Marvel the reach there, getting the bacon, egg, and cheese. Oh, love it.
Yep.
Love it.
It is perfect. That is exactly what you want to see from this style of gameplay as well. You get surprised, and that's a good thing to have. It is a good thing to be able to have a threat on the board at all times. And that's what Fenris does. Is Fenris is like, I'm not going to do anything for you immediately, but it is a threat that sits on the board waiting for your opponent to make a mistake. And then you just swoop in and you take it. Now let's take a look at his second clip. Gladiator has been coming in clutch, especially with Surtur decks. I just don't see them as much. So, you know, pulling something with Gladiator gives you a little bit of flexibility. But going against Destroy, you know?
Yeah, Nimrod deck, the double Carnage, just throwing Nimrods everywhere.
So now hold on. So he's hit the... I mean, it works.
Carnage. Bring the Carnage back. Okay, yep. Very nice.
Destroy all your cards. Have less power there than you did before, but hey.
Okay, to help with the... And then Sage to pull it off. Nice.
This Malekith play with Sage, this is where he is so powerful, is being able to pull a card like her is assuming that the card that shall not be named does not enter back into the gameplay anytime soon. Sage is a card that is if you don't have when she comes back into spotlights, or you have
Sage is a big one. Yeah.
Yeah. Sage is huge. Sage can make a negative deck just go bananas. It's a low cost. And if you're in a situation where you can pick her up with Beast and play her again, or copy her with Frigga, like we talked about in the Frigga video, there's no stronger card, because as long as you're not blocked by Cosmo, or again, that other card, she can be a crazy amount of power.
Yeah. Yeah. She might be the top 3 drop in the game right now.
Yep. I think so. If that, I think her and Luke right now are the #1 cards to play with all the affliction decks going around. But next up, we have Gregor, who had a clip. I was able to get this last minute, which is very nice. But he pulled the Lady Deathstrike with his Gladiator. And what that's going to mean is a very nice final turn, because his Fenris Wolf is going to take that card. Because it only takes cards that were destroyed by your enemy, not by anything else.
Right, like it's not going to take cards that were destroyed in your end.
Exactly. It's only your
it's
enemy's
always
card.
the highest power, so he knows exactly which one's coming out, so he can very easily plan for it.
And there's a 10 power Thanos in that lane. Lady Deathstrike don't care, because that power stone is gone. If he had that Thanos buffed up, that power stone would have lost him that extra
Very
10
nice.
power. That's the one thing that is that anything 3 and under is gone. So Thanos' stones, they're just toast. Unless you have something like Kyra on board, and most Thanos decks don't run Kyra.
Right. Yeah, because stones actually clog you up more often than not. So having a couple of them disappear ain't so bad. But
exactly. And I've been in situations.
And I don't think it was activating the power stone on that one, but it's just so nice to just know, right? Like it doesn't matter what they end up playing. They could have ended up having enough stones to play down. You don't know.
Yeah, and with the stones, all it is you have to have them played, but the power stone the power stone, the space stone, and the soul stone have to be in play for them to have a benefit. And I think that's another thing. I don't know if you remember, just on a small little tangent, the space stone is a mini war machine for Thanos, because you can play him anywhere. It's so good. And I don't think most people have been thinking about it. I know I didn't. I was just like, wait a second, I can play him anywhere? Yeah, it's powerful. But not if you have a Lady Deathstrike that destroys them, or Killmonger or whatever. But yeah, I think this is a good show. I think, again, Gladiator, yet another Series 5 card, is really powerful right now because of the slowdown of Surtur, and gives you a little bit of that extra oomph to take a card down. So because US Agent drops the power of 4 cost and up cards, if something had 9 or 10 power, I think it's a -3, Gladiator would, if I am understanding it correctly, and US Agent was there first, Gladiator would destroy that card. It's a different style of deck that Gregor's playing here. It's an Affliction style with Wiccan, and I don't know if you have Wiccan, but Wiccan has become one of my favorite archetypes. If it comes back into spotlights, especially if you like ramp, it is killer. He just provides so much value, and he's a 4/7 body. Moving on, we've got Devilish with a couple clips for us here. Always comes through. I knew this would be one that he would have fun with. So a whiff on the opponent's Shang-Chi. I wonder what deck the opponent was playing. Oh
my goodness, Destroyer. Oh my goodness.
Oh, and because of the...
Oh man.
That's perfect.
A good Shang-Chi just in case.
You know what's funny? If he had Shanged and then thrown Fenris up, hold on, I just want to go back there. So from my understanding, and I know people were trying to get this to work, if you activate Fenris Wolf as he's flipping over, he will regenerate the card on their side. That could have ended badly for Devilish, though, if it did activate on his side, because I think the highest power there was Destroyer, and that would have destroyed his board as well.
Right,
so,
right.
Hey, it worked out.
That's a fun little combo piece that he's trying there. I like that a lot.
Yep. Devilish has some really, really cool decks. He tends to cook some very unique stuff that you don't often see. Let's take a look at his next clip. Oh, interesting. He's using the Black Knight discard deck.
Okay.
Oh, there we go. He's flipping the Fenris over. And is it going to activate it? It does. There we go.
It does, right?
Oh my God.
Pulls out the Destroyer that he just He just
Oh,
discarded.
that
That's
is okay.
hilarious.
So,
I've got to build this deck.
yeah,
That's
right?
beautiful.
He didn't win, but I don't think it mattered. Like, that was perfect. I love stuff
Yeah,
like
still
that.
lost, but I
Yeah.
love that it happened. That is, oh my goodness.
I think this is perfect. It is a fun way of screwing around with what shouldn't work, but does. The win for that wasn't what was value. The value
Right.
was
Yeah.
just being able
Pulling
to
off
destroy.
that combo, that fun,
Yep.
goofy combo, those
Yep.
kind of just fun goofball things that you can do in Snap. And that's what I love about this new card. Again, it's not going to be super strong, but I picked it up because I knew that there would be some goofball combo out there that I could
Yep.
try in like Proving Grounds or something.
There
I
you
just
go.
found it. I'm going to be picking up this list.
Nice. I'm going to put their list down below as well. So I will have that in the descriptions. And last one I got today, I was in Perry's chat. He had finished up with his alphabet challenge. And I was like, can you play a Fenris deck so I can get one more clip? And he said, yes. This could have ended beautifully. This could have made the most perfect clip in the whole wide world, but you'll see what happens. So he's played his Gladiator, killed the Dracula.
Do we win, right?
Shadow Kinged the Apocalypse instead of
Wrong order.
hitting it with the Shang-Chi
I
first.
think we're still good with US
However,
Agent.
at the end,
Yeah.
pulls back the Malekith,
We still
which
win
is a
all
full
in.
6 power,
Optimal play.
and a Sage at the very
Sage.
end.
Nice.
So that's that hidden Sage with
enough.
Malekith. Yep. But he was so looking forward to hitting that Apocalypse with Shang-Chi because he knew that's what it was going to play. And nope,
Just
that didn't
order.
happen. Yep.
Yeah.
This is why everyone, order matters so much. Of all of the things in this game, priority and order are the two most important things. The number of times, especially early on when I played a Wasp, after I played my Patriot, but before I played my Mystique, you only do that but so many times before you realize, uh-oh, I shouldn't do this anymore.
Gotta commit it to memory. Make sure that you're double checking those orders on your last play. But he still got the bacon, egg, and cheese.
He
He
did
still
get the
got
bacon,
all
egg, and
three
cheese?
legs, so
He did.
can't argue with results.
Nope. And so, again, Fenris Wolf is an expensive card. Most of the decks are a little bit pricey. The discard decks, which she is the best in right now with Gambit and Moon Knight, are somewhat inexpensive. Fenris and Scorn are going to be your two really expensive cards. The problem is the other card that works insanely well is Malekith in a discard deck because you could have a Gambit hiding underneath there, and that can be a game winner. Fenris won't work with the Gambit that's hiding underneath, but if you can play that Gambit beforehand and have Fenris on the board, you can call it back immediately. And like I said in that one game, that Luke Cage, which was not a very high power card, was enough of a tech card to reset all of the affliction that I had done and won them the game. I had a bacon, egg, and cheese until they pulled the Luke Cage back, and then they got to enjoy the bacon, egg, and cheese. And I just got egg on my face. We've got an interesting card coming up next week. After I got Fenris, I shifted my excitement to go, okay, maybe Gore is going to be that card.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why they're saving it to the last. We'll have to wait and see. You know, a 6-1 is a big cost. It's not a deck that's going to require a ton, but it is a deck that is probably going to need a little bit of unique handling in how it works.
I think you're right. I'm looking forward to it. I think that a lot of great deck builders out there, a lot of great players out there are going to do some very interesting things next week with the new card. So I'm really excited to see the clips that come out of it.
Me too. We will be back next week with Gore, and we're going to get this one out before the spotlight is over so you can make a decision as to what you want to do. Thank you again for joining me.
It's an absolute blast. Guys, we'll see you out there every single week for a new clip video. Tell us in the comments, which one was your favorite?
And we'll have those decks for you, so keep an eye out. See you next week.